that was a slap happy episode, but
Hello, Omniverse. I am Joe Bear.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Diego.
And this is Behind the Beard.
Or lack thereof. And Joe also lack thereof, because are you trying to mirror me now?
Well, I wanted to give you both of you a shot to grow a beard in 2023. So I figured I'd put us all on the same starting ground. And as we're starting this new year, we're all on the same page.
So BTB is going to actually stand for Battle of the Beard.
I love it. Battle of the Beards.
So I gotta really stock up on some collagen, hair growth, everything.
Let's do it.
Fun fact, I was on Amazon the other day and it did recommend the hair growth thing for me, $600 as my targeted ad. And I was like, okay, so Amazon, can you see me now? Because
it's listening. It was reading your thoughts, Zach. You're like, I wonder what I would look like with the majestic Joe's hair.
Exactly that. Oh, well, okay. Anyhow, I had to divert because you said I said lack thereof, but I feel like you should have said that.
Yeah, here we're always changing it up, and I needed to do something bold, right? So sometimes you just gotta come into a new year hot. We talked about that before, and said, you know what, let's try something new. So here we are, lack thereof. I'm joining your squad, and we'll go from there. But anyway. This week's episode is something that I love conversing about, and we hope that this conversation today helps everyone out there spark an idea, start a thought, or help your journey to be a better you, as we're trying to do the same every week. And today we're starting a new series all about skills. In today's constant evolving economy, especially the gig economy itself, which we may talk about as far as predictions of where that's going. It's more important than ever to stay on top of your game and keep your skills up to date. Whether you're starting out in your career, you're wanting to improve yourself at your current gig, or looking into growing into a leadership type role, it's essential that you be proactive in developing new skills to stay competitive in the job market. So in this episode, we're going to explore the various reasons why it's important to create and learn new skills in today's gig world. And we'll be discussing all the ways that developing new skills can help you thrive in today's gig economy. So if you're ready to take your gig to the next level, join us as we delve into the world of skill development and explore all the ways that learning new things can help you succeed in today's gig economy.
And especially as we know, we have this new year upon us, so I think it's important to see hey, what's out there what's predicted, what's going to be trending in 2023, before we dive into how you become even more, or why you should become even more, I guess I should say. So have you guys delved into any of the 2023 predictions, trends, highlight? I guess it wouldn't be highlights because it hasn't really taken place yet, but any of those yet?
One of my favorite ones going on around there is a bigger focus on customer experience. So yeah, what do you guys think about that?
We've talked about it before. It's that effortless, immersive experience, I think is going to be more critical as we continue to exit the global pandemic. We've finally figured out some of those supply chain constraints, and we get back to this new normal. We all have a different expectation of what our experience should be. So I'm really thinking that the world itself made a ton of leaps and bounds technology-wise, and those are here to stay. We're not just faulting back to 2019 and saying, hey, we're going to go back to that now. I'm really thinking that the further we go into 2023 and into 2024, some chat-assisted AI is really going to help our experience out. Our frontline contractors are going to have more tools at their disposal to help solve problems faster, more effortless. And I think from a company standpoint, I think we're going to know our customers even better based off of products, based off of interactions. And I think as the data verse keeps growing together, we start to get better tools to analyze that data, and it's not just a dart at the dartboard of what we think should be happening. Zach, what do you think about the customer service experience leading into 2023?
I think it's just going to be, I mean, echoing a lot of that, just ease and great experience, right? I feel like that is the key focus overall. I mean, how can I get a product? How is it going to be? How is it going to look? Is it going to be seamless? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be affordable? And it's now focused on not so much, I'm taking away like the whole dollar amount and things of that, but it's like, hey, I had a really great experience going to this grocery store because they provided this exact experience, and it just kind of cemented in my mind. And I contribute some of this to seeing so much in like the TikTok world in the last year. I mean, people shared so many experiences that they were having, whether it was with a bad experience, a great experience, and those things catch on, they go viral. And I think companies now see the power of that if I get caught giving a great experience, or somebody keeps talking about it and the video catches on, or social media spreads this is lucrative for me. So that is where I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve, is companies have to hashtag be real, and inspire that. What about you, Diego?
I think that like technology has evolved in a way that products no longer impresses with the features, but more with the experiences, right? So because right now, like if you think about 10 years ago, it was like it has this and it has this other thing, and like if you were buying for a computer, it'll be like this amount of RAM, this processor, this other thing, and this screen, so many pixels. And now it's just like, yeah, I don't notice the difference between my previous laptop and the one I have right now on the screen. Like I really don't notice it on an everyday basis. So it's more about like how integrated is that experience, or how well it interacts with me. And that I'm talking about a laptop right now, but that goes to every product, every service that we go through these days.
I love that you brought that up. And, I've got both of those. I ordered a new laptop, and it's like I used to be a techno geek in like, oh, yeah, we're going to go this, and I'll spend the extra money here. And even with phones, it was the same way. Like I had to upgrade every year because the technology grew so fast, and like the whole experience the whole experience changed because of the technology change. And now I'm like, well, I looked at my daughter's, they got the new iPhones, and I look at my phone, I'm like, they're not really that much different. Like the experience is the same. It works. It's flawless on both ends. So I'm seeing it from both worlds. But it's what challenged me is I had to get my daughter from an Android into the iPhone world, into the Apple world, and that whole change of ecosystem was frustrating, right? So it's once you're in, it's so easy. Like my older daughter was able to transfer. She was just in. It was a non-event. Whereas several days to like, oh, okay, we need this, we need to go that. So I'm right there with you, Dago. I think the experience as a whole just needs to improve, and that's what's going to keep me in there, regardless of the technology that's out there. And much like the experience of being in that entire environment, and it's going to be a great experience for you. Everything is just ease of use. I don't want to have to think about it. We have to go into what is happening behind the scenes, and that's the talent economy is really got to grow, and that's where everyone can make a contribution here. I'm predicting that there's going to be a talent challenge out there, and we saw a lot of things happening and a lot of accelerated digital transformation trends. There's a lot of new types of work happening with this digital transformation. But where's the talent that's coming up with that? And just understanding and be able to use it. I felt, even though I was a techno geek one point in my life, I was on this iPhone. I'm like, I don't know what to do. Fix this, kid, right? And so as that's happening, I have to up my game, and I have to go learn those new skills. And I think there is going to be a gap in that talent challenge out there that's really going to be noticed in 2023 and 2024. What about you, Zach? Where do you think the talent challenge is going to go?
I think it started in 2022, right? We saw it with companies shifting on how are they going to move forward after pandemic, right? Are they going to go to back in office? Are they going to go virtual? They're going to go hybrid. How are they, serving their employees or contractors or whoever in their supports their organization? And I think that's where the challenge is going to come out, is people want to feel valued more than ever. Not saying we never wanted to, but there's more, I guess, views and openness to what's out there and what can be better. I think we've always had the analogy that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but now it's like an open door to most companies because people share their experiences more. You see things more on postings. Like job postings are pretty detailed now. So I think that that's going to be a piece where people, they don't want to just be stuck and confined to a desk for 40 hours anymore, right? They don't want to commute for an hour. Like they want the flexibility, they want the growth, they want, the value in the workplace. So that's where I see kind of the biggest being is that, I probably have heard the phrase a lot, the lifer phrase. I don't know if everybody wants to be a lifer anymore, right? That like we have this awesome piece with the gig economy at Omni that allows that flexibility and allows you to kind of go into different areas, and that's something that I think is going to be sought after a lot. What do you think, Diego?
Yeah, talent in general is evolving also, right? Like what we said about products and the features, maybe in talent it's more about learning new things and being up to date with the things that you know how to do, right? Because in the concept, you can be like in my case, a graphic designer, but that means so many different things today than what it meant a year ago, 6 months ago. And there are all these new tools available and all these new things that you can do and all these new resources also, people around you that know how to do things. And maybe the easiest way to enable all of those things is through gig economy or through asking someone to do something very specific because that's what they're good at. So yeah, I think that talent and the talent economy is evolving in that way, right? As people are very good at doing specific things, and then that creates that perfect environment for a gig economy where you can hire someone to do that specific task.
So yeah, I love that. You don't have to encompass everything. I just need this one item focused in. Zach, you're going to be the best at it. So I just need you to come in and complete that. That's like a 30-hour project. Boom, done. We're moving on here. And you're continuing with what you're doing, but you upskilled yourself to get to that point. This could be a side hustle. This could be a nights and weekends type thing, leading into that gig economy itself. There are so many gig economies out there. Of course, we feel we are absolutely the best. But one status and figure here from 2022 is 57.3 million people in the US alone completed some sort of freelance or gig work. So either as a side hustle or as a main source of income. Let's predict it. What do we feel that number is going to be for 2023? Plus or minus, I'll give you guys the benefit of where do you think we're going?
I'm going to say like doubled.
Wow.
I don't know. It just sounded good.
Doubled. So you're thinking 114 million people are going to do some sort of gig work in 2023. Okay.
Yeah, I guess. That's a lot, but let's go for it. I'm gonna go big. Go big or go home.
Predictions rule the world. Diego, what about you? What's your prediction?
Hard to predict for only 2023, but I'd say pretty much everyone, 99% of people will do some sort of gig or freelance kind of thing for someone. Like I think more people are doing it every day. So yeah, 99%.
So if those were US stats of the 57.3, so I think what our net population is 350 million. So you're thinking of the available workforce, 273 million is what you're going to think, something along those lines. Yeah. Don't ask me why. I have kind of an idea of where our working population numbers are.
Exactly what I was thinking.
so, bold. I love it. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative with it, but I do think we're probably going to see a 75 million people that will touch that. So that's where I'm thinking a nice sustainable growth factor, because I don't, this isn't crypto. We're not shooting up and then falling to the floor. It's a long growth pathway, and it's just gaining steam there. So that's my prediction there. All right, another challenge for you guys. Gig workers will have more or less control over their work.
More. I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, me too, and more control.
You don't think these big companies are going to come in and say, oh, you're a gig worker, here's what you need to do, and we're going to go back to where the way it was? I mean, when there's a good thing, everyone tries to come in and ruin it and get it back to where it was before.
Some will try, for sure. Like some will try to get in, try to sugarcoat whatever thing they're doing as gig work, try to tell you're flexible, but you're not, try to, give you the perks, but they, at the end, No, but I think some will try, but I don't think in general it will be the reality.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the customer experience piece that we talked about earlier, and there's a lot of eyes on how you're going to value and treat all, and I think it goes to that. So
Excellent. I love it. It may be something non-gig or work related. What is your 2023 bold prediction of something that's going to take over the trends list on Google?
AIs for me, I think everybody's going to have like a new AI to do something, and everybody's going to be searching for that. So Google search predictions for sure. Give me an AI that does this.
Nice.
I'm going to go totally outside of the digital business world, I guess you'd say. I think there's going to be a lot of trending things with concerts and festivals and how they're going to transform in 2023, right? There's a lot of eyes on ticket sales. That's not where I'm going with it, but we have Rihanna doing the halftime show, coming back to music for the first time in years and years and years. You have people touring again at huge capacities because of pandemic kind of coming down. So I think there's going to be a lot of different things happening with that. We have a lot of big names that are hitting stages and things. So that's where I'm going to see a lot of things happening in 2023. Calling it here first.
Wow. So we must be on the same wavelength, but my Amazon is not recommending hair growth. But my bold prediction was going to be regulations around Ticketmaster, because the T-Swifties, I don't know what you guys are called, are going to formalize some rules and regulations over the monopoly that's really happening there. And we'll see new players like SeatGeek and those start to rise up and have a more competitive market around tickets itself.
All right. Well, I think we can hop into this week's topic.
All right. Well, let's jump back in here to skills, right? We're starting our conversation of why skill creation is so important for myself. And I think it's all time for us in 2023 to get a little bit selfish with ensuring that we are delivering our best brand. We've talked about that before, our best self. And we can't do that by, even though watching and binging Netflix is great, we've got to put in some effort into skill creation itself. And so that way it just kind of just feeds the ecosystem of me to becoming overall, a better person as far as skills. I'm sharper. I'm working towards what I'm going for in life, and then I feel like even from that point, it's helping me with other factors outside of skill creation. It's keeping me disciplined to go to the gym, disciplined to track my calories, disciplined to meditating more, right? Those types of things. Why is self-development and self-growth so important to each one of you?
I think it just keeps fresh, right? I don't want to go like to be stale route. And I know if I'm not thinking of like how I can improve in one facet or learn or something like that, then I don't feel like I'm fulfilling my own, like, I guess, I'm trying to think of how do I want to phrase that, like my own like thing for myself, right? Like I have to invest in myself. And if I'm not doing any of that, then I'm letting myself down, would be kind of how I would go about it.
I love that.
I think self-learning gives you a lot of flexibility and into how you want to grow your skills and where you want to go. So, and it also makes it a permanent thing, right? You're every day, every year, every month, you're learning something new and you're pushing yourself to do that. So self-development, I think, is the best way to grow that skill set or to perfect whatever skills you have.
Another great statement here as far as what to do. If you have no plan to work on yourself, then you're relinquishing your self-control to somebody else's growth and development of you. So I think it gives you that sense of control, which is so important in today's gig world. To own my own capabilities, to be able to grow myself, to go give more back to everyone else, right? I love the phrase, learn, earn, and then return. One of the things I've been challenged with is keep coming up with creative ideas. Well, there's not really too many new great ideas that are out there, but what I can do is I can learn from multiple sources of, okay, well, this is a great idea, and maybe it's outside of my industry, like Zach was saying. I got to go look at ticket sales and what's happening there and learn from there, or maybe I got to go learn from the cookie rivalry that's growing between Dirty Dough and Crumble Cookies. And I got to go learn, okay, well, what can happen that and how can I replace that into what we're doing here? If I don't continue my learning pathway, then I'm falling behind, and that's my why. It's not because of any other reason, but I want to stay current and I want to learn the ecosystem of Apple. Even though like I've had Samsung, it's hard for me to get into that one, right? But I still need to learn it. I need to love it because they are so focused on a relentless emotional feeling for tying to that ecosystem, but that I don't want to be left out. So it's almost that feeling of FOMO. Fear of missing out. I don't want to be on the end of that tail. I want to be on the leading edge. And, how do we overcome some of those feelings of FOMO itself? And, well, sure, life is busy. Who has time to keep on learning? What are some of your whys to overcome those challenges?
Having a seat at the table, right? If you're not challenging yourself or growing to learn a new task, and it doesn't have to be something huge, right? I think when we talk about learning in a nutshell, people that just, like you said, Joe, it's overwhelming, right? Like there's a lot of work, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of time. Why am I doing this? What's the outcome going to be? And why is it worth my time and effort? And circling back to that place. And I think doesn't have to be that way, and that could be the why. You can have a network of people that you're just learning alongside of. I learn speaking with you two each week. I learn, right? And to me, I don't feel like I'm learning. And I think that is kind of how I can power a why, is I don't have to be sitting here with a book in hand, right? And actually reading. That's great. And I do that. But it can be a conversation or a quick scroll or chat GPT, and I'm asking a question. And in 5 seconds, I learned something. It doesn't have to be huge. I think it goes back to a 1% conversation. And I think that for me, as I keep saying, I think. So clearly I think a lot, but that's where it goes for me on that piece.
Yeah, I also think we usually link learning to formal education and to like signing up for a course and doing this other thing, doing homework and all that kind of stuff. But actually learning is, it can be part of every day of your life. Like you just said, Zach, like just do a quick Google search on something. And part of that is the mindset that you have, because if you always have questions in your head, right? You're always asking yourself, like, what type of wood is this chair that I have in front of me made of? And that's something you can Google, and there are things that you can always look up and learn from every day.
I love that. It's what is in front of you, and then it's how do I make this relevant to my goals, right? And my challenges for myself there. And I don't need to know what kind of wood that this table is, but although I was at a restaurant and they had a stamp that said it was white oak ash, I think it was, I forgot it already, but I was like, well, why is this important to me? And so I started Googling, okay, well, it's sustainable. Oh, it's easier to manufacture. It's easier for all of this. This is why it matters. Okay, well, that's something new I've learned for today, but that doesn't stop there. And then I also find it's the power of compounding, right? That eighth wonder of the world. And I find myself wanting to learn a little bit more, and then it just keeps building on it, the next layer. And it's whether I'm on Twitter for not just cat memes. I'm there because there's a whole university of education. I mean, we're going to talk next week about where do you get all this great education, but it's using my time wisely. Okay, I'm at the gym. Sometimes I need, that pump up music, a little Slipknot to get angry or whatever the case is. But, most of the time I have a podcast, audiobook, something going on to almost compound the learning into self-growth. So not only am I doing better for my body, which opens up my mind because of all the endorphins, but then I'm also absorbing more through the podcast, through the book, or whatever the case is. And sometimes I find myself missing my timed reps because I'm reading an article, I'm get on, whatever it is. But I find it just keeps on growing and compounding itself. I know this last year, I think I listened to and read probably about 80, 90 books. And when you think about it, it's like, how do you have time for that? I'm one of the busiest people. I'm always on the go, but it's when you compound these things and you're like, okay, great. Zach, you called it out before in one of our previous episodes, that sometimes I have so many ideas fluttering from me from all these learnings. And I'm like, I get so excited and then I just can't even spit it out. right? So I would much rather be on that end of it than, I don't know, right? I think it's a fear of being vulnerable here for a moment. I don't ever want to be. I don't know. I don't have an idea.
And there's power in being open, right? And you look at that from a standpoint of, okay, well, if we're going to talk about not formalized education and learning and just gaining every day, you can do that by just joining a call and you're listening to your peers speak to a client, or you're listening to somebody else's call in a calibration or any of those fashions. You listen to your own call. There's different things in those settings where you learn, and why. Like, why am I wanting to learn? Because all of those things you're taking a snippet of something. And maybe you don't realize it, but in a week time, you'll come to a situation that's very familiar, or maybe a repeat or something. And I can guarantee that you're going to go back and say, I recall this one time when I was listening to this, or I was listening to myself, and now I'm not going to do that again. Or I am going to do that again, but I'm going to add something to it. I'm going to add a little flair. I'm going to make it a little bit better. And that is a powerful why in itself of being open and listening. Listening is just so key when you're in this learning setting.
What'd you say, Zach?
I mean, there's just power in listening, right?
Oh, missed that the first time. It's a valuable tool, and you're hitting the nail on the head. It's that ownership, though, of I want to listen to my call. I want to hear my mistake. I want to learn from it. I want to fail fast. I want to iterate fast. I remember my time as being an agent and on the phones. I never once, maybe dating myself is more of an Alta Vista search than a Google search, but it's how to be better and how to have a better conversation with people. Right now, there's so much power and information out there where, a quick 15-minute every day Google search of how to be a better effortless experience representative, you're going to get 1,000 things going. We're one of the most heavily metric industries out there. You could find out information and tons of power of information out there on how to improve that for myself. I don't need, in the old school way of a leader saying, oh, go do this, bring your HT down. We talked about that before. So, okay, well, now I know. I see my results. We're transparent here. And so now I'm saying, ooh, okay, I'm above goal. And how do I get there? Well, I'm going to go learn and I'm going to go apply it, right? And so then I'm staying ahead of the curve, especially in today's day and age. I mean, our clients are changing, our customers' needs and wants are changing. So just really in order to stay competitive and relevant in anything, including being a frontline contractor or trying to stay relevant on behind the beard, we have to be continually learning and adapting, and it requires that focus of that lifelong learning and professional development to ensure that we have the skills and knowledge to succeed. If you've learned, and I know we're in the new year is when we're putting this out there, but what are some of your favorite things you have worked on yourself over the past year that you are now able to apply into 2023 and beyond?
I'm gonna say my first thing is a few days ago, I noticed on my phone these screenshots that were from the very first Behind the Beard episodes with Chris Carrington and everyone else. So I think without noticing it, only because you asked me now, but I've improved my video editing skills and the knowledge that I have about video editing. And I mean, these are far from perfect episodes, but if we look at those old episodes and we look at what we're putting out now, I think they're better. So that's one of the things that I didn't have any experience on, and I think I've learned a lot and I put a lot of effort into learning. That's the first one that comes to my mind. How about you, Zach?
I will say I don't enjoy the questions of what have you learned, because I'm really bad at reflecting on. And it sounds so cheesy. I feel like I'm always in the state of learning and growing, and I try to think of a specific example, or like I really learned this, or I learned this fun fact, and every time it's like my mind's blank, and it's like, oh, Zach, you've done nothing, or you've learned nothing. But outside of that normal struggle that I have with this question, For me, I've had a lot of growth in the last year on just speaking, engagement, and being able to represent myself better and represent, any of the accounts or organization Omni as a whole in a better sense. I think that that's been my biggest growth in what I've learned. I'm stepping into a new role as a director. I've had to speak at a higher level than I've ever had in my career. So that's where I've had to, I would say my biggest learn has been, biggest learn, I don't think makes sense, but yeah.
Our biggest learn.
Biggest
That'd be a
learn.
better way to phrase that. I love it though. Yeah, and I'll contribute to both of you. One, Diego, more than just video editing, but I will say as I go back and watch these to learn from my mistakes, as we don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk as well, and go, ooh, okay, that was not. Why did I say that? Or wow, that was phrased terrible. Or I hear my knows or likes, and I'm like, okay, how do we shrink that down and improve my communication skills? Well, I have to listen to it. I have to learn from it. You do a great job of filtering out a ton, but just the growth of your ideas and your communications abilities from when we first started recording this to now is just bar none. You've improved far more than either Zach or I. So, I mean, that's something that I've seen even translate into our social media campaigns, into our graphic designs that we have going on. So, I mean, it's this compounding effect that is really out there. So super awesome to see that from you. And Zach, as far as your self-representation, you've always been confident, but you've lacked the confidence to be that confident, right? So just seeing that kind of blossom within you, and I'm not going to take credit, but it's fully behind the beard that's given you that ability to do so.
Battle of the Beard.
Battle of the Beards, 2023. But sometimes we got to put ourselves in that vulnerable state of something like this, and just have a conversation with each other, and that's helping you formulate your thoughts and perspectives. Sometimes we're thinking on the fly, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not all planned out and scripted. We have good ideas of where we're going. We have a great idea of the conversation, and a lot of this has been built out. But at the same time, our conversations are never perfectly planned out. They're never perfectly mapped out. Otherwise, it's going to be boring. So we pivot, we change, we adapt. I hear what you're saying, Zach, what you're saying, Diego, and I'm like, oh, the formulation of my next thought is completely different than where I wanted to go. Great. This is what it's all about. So I'm just super happy to see that from you, and from you, Diego, and that's just making us better to be able to give back more to everyone else through our conversations, right? Where do we go from here? We don't know yet, right? We're going to continue on our season 2, and I know everyone asks like, where's season 1?
It's on cassette, remember?
What was that?
It's on cassette.
Oh, it's on cassette. Yes. So if you have a cassette player, let us know at btp@oiteam.com, and we'll send you a copy. But first I have to find how to record a cassette anymore. But anyway, so that's where we're headed. It's to improve this experience so that way we can keep giving back. And, we're taking all the feedback that everyone provides us through btp@oiteam.com or through the chats or the DMs. And we're trying to apply that here as creatively and as quickly as possible. So we just want to say thank you to all of you out there that's helping us grow as well. And hopefully these ideas, these conversations spark it within you as well to want to go out there and do more. How many books have you read? Let us know. How many podcasts? What's your favorite podcast? How are you learning? And why is your learning habit so critical and key to you? I think if we all are just out there understanding why we're doing this, then we can help each other grow as a community. And that's what here at Omni we're trying to do, is all of our network is helping each other grow. Oh, go ahead.
I thought you were asking us, and just for reference, I think I have read, in reality, 0 books this year, but just a bunch of little snippets, pages, and things that I've seen here or there. Go back to that one, read that one, but full page 1 to the last page 0, most likely. And favorite podcast, Secretly Incredibly Fascinating. That's probably the best podcast out there.
I probably, my book count is also probably relatively low. I started the year off strong with doing a lot of book reading, and then I just didn't. Right? I'm a waver though, so I go into different waves where I get really hooked on reading, really hooked on listening to a podcast, and then I just don't. And that's how I do a lot of things in like my personal life. You would say, like I might get hooked on a video game for like a month, and then I just don't touch my video games ever again for like 3-4 months, or an app on my phone. I'm very cycle oriented on what I get hooked on. And I guess, I don't know, maybe it's just my way of like keeping things fresh and keeping things in the know. But one thing I always listen to is true crime. So yeah, my podcast would be morbid. So when I'm in my podcast mood, I love to just go on a walk and feel like I'm solving a crime with a couple of people I don't even know.
That's great. I love both of those for sure. It's what keeps us going, is those little tidbits, and whether we're consistent like myself, because that's become my gym identity, is I struggle with lifting without a book going, right? And that's how I work. Or there's waves and cycles, and however you work, it's great. Just keep going after it. That's what we implore all of you to do, is just to keep going after it, keep learning more. Learning doesn't stop just because we graduated. Learning is a lifelong event. So tell us your why. Why are you continually working on your growth and your skills? And we'd love to hear from you, and maybe give you a shout out for all of your greatness of why you're doing it. So just let us know at btb@oiteam.com. Gentlemen, is there anything else we want to converse about on skill development, lifelong learning?
No, I would just say it's going to be an exciting segment of just the power of it. I think frame this differently than maybe other things that you've heard with learning. I know Omni does their learning a lot differently, but I think there's just a lot of power in knowing that you don't have to pick up a textbook, to Diego's point. You don't have to always pick up a book. It's not always that, and it shouldn't make you feel like you're not pushing yourself or not learning if you're not falling into those methods, right? Like Diego and I just said, Joe loves books and that's his passion. Ours may be reading snippets, or maybe I'm on TikTok and I come across a trend and I'm learning about something there. There's just power in different ways you can learn, and that'd be my reminder of why it's still important, and everybody's learning is going to look a little different.
I think it ties into mine, which will be learning is a mindset, and you have to stay curious. And the more that you practice it, like I was telling you, what type of wood the chair is, maybe that doesn't bring any benefits in my life, but maybe the one benefit that I get from it is curiosity, and just keep thinking about why this happens this way, or how was that made, or why is it here, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a mindset learning at the end of the day.
100% a mindset. And this is how we conquer with each other, is we're always after it. We're always chasing after the skills of growth. We all are predicting that the world of gig is going to continue to increase, and the need for lifelong learning is here to stay. We're here to support you along your education pathways here internally within Omni, but we also are super excited out externally as well for whatever the case may be. If it's a podcast, it's a snippet, it's a tweet, whatever the case is. We love to hear about those, and we would love to celebrate in them all. And as we continue to advance our technology, it's just going to become more critical for all of us to continue working to our own trajectories to give back to each other. Why don't we say we do what we haven't done, I don't think, in a couple of weeks, a quick pick'em? You guys have a quick pick'em in mind, or?
What is, we talked about when I said reservations, right? Instead of resolutions. What is one thing that you want to try in the new year? Maybe it's a food, a place, an event. What is one thing you want to try?
All right. Well, I've already alluded.
And I don't even know, so now I'm thinking it, because you're probably going to bounce it back to me at the end. So now I have to think about that.
We will. I already alluded to this. By this time releases, I'm going to be doing cold showers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Slowly turning down the temperature on them, getting colder and colder to get used to it. And of course, it's dead of winter, and I'm like, this is miserable. Why am I doing this not in July? Why am I doing this in January? But I think it just, power of strength of overcoming that challenge every day. But something I do want to try, I want to go to a location I've never been before, right? So that's my goal for 2023. Been a little bit of a travel rut, but I'm thinking 2023 is going to be a good year. Going to try somewhere else. Definitely getting that passport renewed.
Love it. What about you, Diego?
Like I said in that episode before when we talked about reservations, I don't usually do them, and I just hope to progress on things, right? Just try to be better at whatever it is that I find meaning in and that I can bring to the table when it comes to work, when it comes to life, when it comes to family. Just try to be a little bit better, even if it's just 1%.
Oof. What I'm hearing you say, Diego, is focus on the present.
Yeah, always.
So hard to do in today's day and age. You know, we can't change the past. We can only work towards the future, but you can only enjoy right now. Love it. I'm going to steal that from you. We're going to focus on the present. Be better at whatever I'm doing at the present moment and be more engaged in whether it's a meeting, it's a call, it's a state of flow. I'm just going to work on being focused and not have 17,000 tabs open all the time.
I like that. And I'd add to that, just for me, try to be more organized. I'm an organized person in a realm, but I can do better. Try to be more organized.
What is your digital cleanliness? Like, are you super organized in the digital world and then or are you messing the digital world clean in the real world?
So, well, Joe, I cannot have a single email in my inbox. So I don't, and same with my phone. I can't have a notification, right? Like you'll see me all the time just clearing. I just can't have that. But then I have and I'm pretty cleanliness in like the home world too, but I have areas where I'm not, and it's kind of like a loose cannon, like under the bathroom sink or in my clothes, something doesn't fit, I throw it on the floor. Like those are my areas where I'm just messy. And it's like that whole mindset of like everything organized, clean, and then you have more of your mind to be not thinking about things. That's my intent.
Do you now feel more empowered to get this done because you've put it out there into the big world?
I mean, nobody's going to see. I will add, I asked for bathroom organizers for Christmas because what else do you ask for as an adult? And so that's going to happen. Now, I will just probably not ask about the closet update because that's something I've struggled with my entire life.
What about you, Diego?
I think I'm decently organized on both, but not really over the top. The one thing I hate about a new year is I have my folder that's called 2022, and now I have my folder that's called 2023. But where do I put this file? Does it go, or now I have to go back, look for that other file there. Like for example, with these recordings, these are going to be on the 2022 file, but I'm going to be putting them out on 2023. So yeah, that's the only thing that I don't know. It gets me every time, every January.
And I mean,
go ahead.
Joe doesn't even use folders, I feel. I mean, if you knew what Joe's inbox looked like, I feel like that's my challenge to you. Maybe you should try to have a better inbox, Joe.
I learned from a few of the great leaders that I've worked with or worked for, and I used to be just like you, Zach. I used to spend an inordinate amount of time to make sure I was at net zero in my inbox. But then as the email count grows, right, you start getting a more and more distribution list. I found myself spending more time on that organization than actually in the state of flow. So I do have folders, but they're very broad. I have inbox and I have archive. There's so many great sort features. I used to do it by year, Diego. I still do with the PST, like in the email. But, then I started looking at it and going, there's some emails in here I never will look at again, and I'm just trying to be a little bit cleaner with deleting and getting rid of it. Why keep around an email for 6 years? Like, I don't need to do that like I did in the past. So I do have folders, Zach. I do actually have digital cleanliness. I pretty much can find anything that I need to, but I really rely on the power of search features and to find it. And I think that ecosystem is finally catching up, especially like in the Microsoft universe. It used to be you couldn't search for anything if it was saved on a file, but now you go to office.com, you can search for it and it finds what you're looking for, whether it's saved locally on OneDrive or wherever the case is. So I feel more confident in using the tools, and I don't need to necessarily lean on self-organization because I was just spending too much time on it.
Yeah, but I'll challenge and say if you stay up with it, then it really isn't a challenge, because then you just have like an email come in and you see it swipe. Like once you're caught up with it, There's
Listen.
you have too much of a mountain to overcome at this point. This is a battle of the beard right here.
Battle of the Beard. I started Net Zero when we started Omni. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then you get on all these distros, and you get all these emails, and you're CC'd, and all of this, and all of a sudden it just grows and grows and grows. My friend, I'd rather get the work done, and then just move it to archive. Okay, that's it. If I needed
Well, I get both done. So sorry you're not on my level. Maybe you need to learn from me.
well, I've got a lot to teach him, my friend, and I do have a lot to learn from you.
Gosh.
We'll be real.
Anything to add, Diego, to our battle of the beard for the inbox?
I have nothing to add about inboxes. So.
Diego's like,
Well,
I'm gonna
now
stay
we
out
need
of
to know
this
which
one.
side you lean on. What was yours? Net zero, net 100, or do you just let them all pile up and then move them over to archive?
I don't let them pile up. I'm also trying to keep them as low as possible. Not obsessively going to absolute net zero notifications emails, but yeah, I can tell you one thing. And a couple months ago, I had 10 plus notifications on my bank app showing there, and I was like, where are those coming from? And I was looking at all the transactions and everything, and couldn't find them. And then I don't know how one day I just did like filter unread notifications and they appear there. So I was like just going one by one, and I don't even know what was in there. I just tried to get them read. But yeah, that's it.
Oh, what a fun conversation to end. I posted we record this in Teams, and I posted a screenshot in our chat, and it says, it's the Outlook message of all done for the day. Enjoy your empty inbox. And pretty sure Joe has never seen that. So just wanted to make sure he knows what it looks like.
I do every time I archive everything. Like, I once every 3 months, you're obsessively working over it. And once a quarter, done.
There we go.
Done
It's from the past. It doesn't even count for the financials anymore.
Right.
But nonetheless, this is a great episode. So,
all right. I just want to leave us with a quote here about what we've been talking about. It's from Robin Sharma. Investing in yourself is the best investment you will ever make. It will not only improve your life, it will improve the lives of all those around you. As always, #keep learning, and let us know what you're learning about too. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more great content. And if you would like to reach out to us, we would welcome you to email us at btb@oiteam.com. And join us for this next topic in our series, all about skills, and we'll find out how to implement all that we talked about today. I am Joe Barron. For my co-hosts Zach and Diego, this is Battle of the Beard. #Omniverse to the moon. And I didn't leave you anywhere to go with, Zach. I just killed that whole conversation.
yeah, I was
cut.